Hello, everybody. Here is Robert. I'm very very excited to be going back to my lives. So it's the market is really good. So today I'm really talking about the top 10 scams to watch out in 2024, all related to the real estate industry. So let's just dive into all this, digest them one by one, and then look at what it's in it for everybody here. So I recently came across this article in LinkedIn that it's very good. It talks about all different ways that people can potentially be scammed in 2024. And I did a video before. I will put the link below that talk about scams that I've seen in the last couple of months. So this the nice thing about this article, it concentrates in a variety of other ones that are very important to also consider. So let's just go right in right now. So this one right here, it's the one that I was talking to you a few minutes ago, and it has all the ones that are there. So I will go and dissect each of them so that we can talk about the different things that we are going to be seeing in the real estate industry. So the number one is wire fraud. So it says you have to be very cautious with wire frauds instructions when you receive via email. So this is very important that I always tell people, and in my practice here in Maryland, I always tell people that you should not be clicking on links, whether you are in the process of buying a house or selling a house. You should not be clicking on any link that comes to you. The most important thing is if you're in the middle of a transaction, that your real estate agent should be the one introducing you to those third party vendors, like a settlement company, or maybe if you have a transaction coordinator, the one that will coordinate those things. And an email should come from you with an introduction. Now, you as the realtor need to understand the processes and protocols from the settlement company just to make sure how these things are going to work out. For example, if you're on the buy side, you need to understand how it is that a buyer can send the earnest money deposit, and especially if the settlement company is the one holding the earnest money deposit. Do they have to download an app? Do they have to go and receive an email to click on the link? Do they need to verify that information? So it's very important, all those things. And of the same will be from the seller. When the seller is provided instructions of the proceeds to be wired to the seller's account, it's important that you also coordinate that with them. And after your client, the seller, has emailed that information to the settlement company, you as the agent or your assistant should be calling immediately the person to say, hey, did you receive the information from our client? And the answer is yes. Then you want that person to reply to your client directly to say, hey, I just spoke with your realtor or his assistant or her assistant, and I'm letting you know I have received the information. Something along those lines is very crucial that it needs to happen when it comes to wire fraud. Why? Because if you search right now wire frauds in the real estate industry, there are I mean, millions probably of posts that you're going to find, articles, well, thousands probably articles that you'll see out there to talk about a lot of these frauds that are being happening. So remember, you are the realtor, you are in control, you got to help your people understand, navigate this. They don't do this for a living, they don't do this every day, so you have to do it ahead of time. As a matter of fact, one of the very things that I do as my welcome email on the listing on the buy side is that I always be very cautious about these things. And if you have a good CRM, you should also be texting your clients to say, hey, now that we have gone under contract, the chances of, like a wire fraud scams is in kind of like increases. Just be vigilant for whatever can come forward. So that's kind of like my take on those things right now. But I just want to make sure that you one. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave here. I'm here ready to start the chat. So let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so we're going to the next one, and the next one is the foreclosure scams. Scammers target homeowners facing foreclosure by promising assistance in exchange of for upfront fees. They may claim to negotiate with lenders or offer mortgage modification services. Be wary of such offers and consult reputable professionals for assistance. So on the foreclosure, yes, their target will be the people, but also remember that in this kind of environment where there's not a lot of listings, there is not a lot of inventory, there is also a lot of people that are thinking that maybe if I can start telling some buyers or advertising out there that I can get foreclosure properties at 100,000 below the asking price compared to other houses, maybe you start getting some people. And as I always tell people, remember, if it is way too easy to get to something like this, sometimes there's something like not real in there. So I want you to be very mindful of these things. So foreclosures probably will go up, will increase very soon, as some analysts are predicting, if the market does end up crashing this year. So you may see a drop in normal activity and an increase when it comes to foreclosures. So be aware of the foreclosure scam. If you are unable to pay your mortgage right now for whatever reasons, number one thing I always tell my clients is go ahead and call your lender. You have an obligation, a commitment with your mortgage broker, mortgage company, and you need to call them and let them know immediately what's happening with you. So that way they can help you, can assist you with that process. Okay. It's listen, they know that people go through problems, they know people go through different things, and they want to help you. And they will probably do all they can to try to help you, but you have to speak. You have to be the one to go to them and tell them what's happening with you, what is wrong with you. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So we'll continue to go here. Rental scams. Boy, this is one of my, what can I say? One of my probably favorite ones to talk about, because so many people get like rental scams. And it says this is a particular, I'm going to read it. Right. It says this is a particular one to look out for. Um, Fraudsters may pose as landlords, advertise rental properties, and request upfront payments or personal information before providing access. Always verify how legit the rental listing is. Consult with a real estate agent. Okay, I have had so many people that have seen a property on a website like Craigslist. Okay, they go to Craigslist, they look for real estate that is for lease or for sale sometimes, and then they will see these people that are posting these properties that are beautiful. There are plenty of pictures, there's plenty of description. It looks like a legit, and sometimes they even mention the name of a broker or a real estate company. Okay, so it is a legit thing. Now, on the other hand, what's happening is this is a hook. This is just a way for them to get your contact information. And the most important thing is for you to make a payment of some kind, a little payment of some kind. We don't, this is where they get you. They don't want hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine if they do something like this every day in different cities of United States, and they collect between as low as $200 and as high as $500. They do it 10 times. That's plenty of money, in my opinion. So you got to be very careful with stuff like this. So you always have to look for things that are not right. So there has to be a telephone number, there has to be an email, cannot just sometimes just be just like a me at gmail.com, right? You got to be very suspicious about these things. But the most important is when they ask you to make a payment up front in order to see the house. Nowhere and no one should be asking you to pay any money up front in order to see a piece of real estate. Nobody has to do that. If you are suspicious about this, you need to consult a real estate agent immediately. You really have to talk to a realtor immediately and find out. Another good thing you can do is, as you're looking on Craigslist or any other website, go to the big websites. You can go to realtor.com, you can go to Zillow, you can go to rent.com, Trulia. You can find them in other websites and make sure that information matches what it's in this website. It really matches the other website. And if you have an agent helping you, then you want to tell your agent that this listing is available, that you like this rental and you want to see it, and then your agent should be able to get you into this property immediately or within a short notice. Okay, now do not send any money, do not send anything to anybody, because it does not work at all. Okay, you cannot do those things. You have to be very mindful. There is no exchange of money. There is no social security number that is needed up front. There is no credit card information that is needed just for you to go and look at a listing. You don't need those things. So let's just right now. I'm going to go to Craigslist, see what Craigslist has to do. And we are going to, I'm not sure if I'm going to find a property that it is right now for lease, but I will see. So here's everything that you can see when it comes to real estate. Now, this is everything. I think here it is for sale. Okay, let's just go here to something that it is more housing, parking, commercial, housing wanted. Maybe is this here? Yeah. So this is all continues to be. But even on when it comes to sales, you have to be very careful with all these listings. Especially, I'll be very cautious of like listings like this. Look, this looks to me looks like a screenshot. This looks just like a screenshot from another from like a website. Doesn't really look like a legit picture. Why? Okay, let me show you why. Because if you look at this one, you see how bright it looks. Looks better. It looks at higher quality, better definition. So I would just say like you got to be very, very careful when it comes to these type of things because some of them are not legit. And if there are any links for you to click and look at, that's okay to probably look at a virtual tour. That's okay to probably look some documentation if they have anything. But I would not be looking for anything that it has to do with having to pay something or reserve a spot or do things of that nature. Okay, I think I was able to get to the listings here. There are for lease. So, so far everything looks pretty legit. This one doesn't have an image, so this will be, I'll be suspicious about this one. Doesn't really give you a lot of information, some of these things. I mean, versus some looks like it's done by a professional, where you have tons of photography. You see, you have a lot of information, what's amenities, all these little things. And then there is even a website that you can go to there. So, those things are this is what you need to be paying attention to when it comes to these things. So I don't want to bore you. Now you get the idea. Go to the next thing. Home improvement scams. Be cautious when hiring a contractor for home improvement projects. Scammers may request a large upfront payment, perform subpar work, or vanish before completing the job. Okay, typical. This is something that I don't think I'm going to go too deep into this because we all know what happens with these type of things. If the contractor is not legit, it looks suspicious, doesn't have a license, has not provided a proposal in writing, then I would really not really be like, a good contractor should give you I'm sorry, a copy of their license that is active. Okay, they also should give you some kind of information about insurance that they have. They carry a liability insurance, and their information should be super legit. Name of the company, the number of the company for the state purposes, a good email, a telephone number, and sometimes even a physical location if they have one. If it doesn't have any of those things, just be really careful. And especially if you're looking to improve your house to put it on the market, you have to be more cautious about these things. When you hire me and my company and my team, if you can pay for the repairs, that's okay. And if you have a contractor, that's fine. But if you cannot, then we can find ways that our contractors vetted by us can come over and actually give you an estimate and work out a payment plan, whether you put a deposit up front and you pay the rest at settlement, or you make one payment up front and then another percentage at the end of the job, and then there's a remaining balance towards the end. Or if you really cannot afford to do it, then we can completely find a way to finance the entire project all the way to the date of settlement. Keep in mind that something like that probably going to cost you more because you're financing. But if you would just go put in a credit card, you know how much money you will be paying for. So we're going to move on to the next one. Title fraud. Title fraud occurs when scammers forge property documents to transfer ownership illegally. Regular monitor your property's title and consider title insurance to safeguard against such scams. It is important if you're buying a house, and especially when you buy a house, the lender, if you're financing, a lender will require for you to have title insurance to cover the lender portion, not necessarily your portion of the ownership. Some people think like if you put in a low down payment, you should not be getting title insurance. I am of the opinion that regardless of your down payment, and especially the larger the down payment is, then you should be putting title insurance in place for the owner's side. And if you're paying cash, that's a no brainer. Title insurance really protects you against any kind of claims as long as you live in the property. And believe me, just to have an attorney sometimes just to look at some documentations on somebody asking, putting a claim against your property can very easily cost you a couple $1,000 just to draft a response back to this person with all the facts and everything. And, if you hire Harvey Specter from the Serious Suits, then you know how much those guys charge. But you got to be careful with those things. So, check on that. If you have a real estate agent friend, always tell them that maybe they want to check your. There are ways to get a copy of the deed online, so it's also a good idea that you can do it. For the state of Maryland, definitely it's super simple to do it. As a matter of fact, let me just show you real quick how it is done here for the state of Maryland. Real quick. Okay, bookmarks. So, so if you're here in the state of Maryland and you go to mdlandrec.net, you have to create an account, username and password, and then you select the county where you are located. And then boom, you start just looking by tax ID, by name. There's different ways you can look for corporations and so on. Super, super simple. The way you should be able to do that. So do not worry about that. We go to the next one, phishing scams. Be aware of phishing attempts through email, text messages, or phone calls. Scammers may impersonate real estate professionals, lenders, or title companies to obtain personal information or login credentials. Agents and lenders are licensed and can be looked up through their government or governing organizations. Be cautious. Make sure it is legit. Yes, please be very, very cautious when it comes to these things. People can be actually checking, it's very simple just to put anybody's name as a real estate agent. There's thousands of agents in this area. You can grab that information and then they can start requesting that. Now, when the house goes under contract, it is public information, so you can go and see who is the listing agent, not necessarily the buyer's agent. And then that listing agent, let's say for example it's Robert Garcia, somebody can come up with an email that it looks just like mine, and then send it to you, and they said, hey, I need this information. Remember, real estate agents help you with the process of negotiating the deal, finalize the documentation, and then we send it to the third party, meaning the title company or the lender if it's necessary. So you need to be aware that when that happens, your agent should be able to introduce you to the other party. And if you're still not satisfied after that intro email, go ahead and call that third party company to make sure to verify they are legit. If something like the telephone number is disconnected, the email bounces, stuff like that, be careful with that. Stop communication, inform your real estate agent, and come back right away to another way. Okay, timeshare scam. I'm not going to go too deep into those. If you're considering purchasing a timeshare, be cautious of aggressive sales tactics, hidden fees, and false promises of high resale value. Well, we all know timeshares. The hook is always for you to buy these things. They will give you a whole week for free, and then you can get the rest later on. There's so many tactics. A small print right there. What I always tell people when they want to get me to those things, I says I'll take the information and say, well, if you go to a class tomorrow morning, they're going to give you good breakfast. Then you should be able to get this percent discount. Listen, if it is that good, they're always going to give you the discount. I guarantee you, they always give you a discount. Let me give you a tip I always share with people. When you have some kind of service online for something that you want to cancel, and you go ahead and tell the person that you're going to cancel it, they always give you those discounts. Or if you try to sign up for a new service and you don't sign up for it, don't complete the sign up process, these systems are going, they understand, and immediately they'll send you an email giving you some percentage so for to get you. So same thing with these things, but I'm not a timeshare specialist, so I'm not going to go that deep into that. Flipping and investment scams. Fraudulent investment opportunities may promise quick profits through house flipping or real estate investments. Exercise due diligence through the research and investment opportunities and consult professionals before making financial decisions. This one is very tricky because a lot of people, after HGTV, Property Brothers, and all those things, everybody wants to be a flipper. Yeah, everybody wants to start flipping houses. So we got to be very careful with these things. You have to really understand what's involved. And when somebody tells you that you can start doing this with minimum money, that's a huge, huge red flag, in my opinion, because you do need a lot of money in order to make it happen when it comes to these things. Flipping houses, it requires a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of money, and it's not an overnight thing. Houses take an average of 6 to 8 weeks sometimes to get prepared, depending on the kind of work that is needed. But I can tell you, flipping is something that with a lot of people, and that's where, it's a chain: the realtor, then the contractor, then the painter, then the roof guy. I mean, everybody go after, because they know the person that is flipping a house, it's on a rush to get the house on the market so they can sell it, because they maybe borrow money from a bank, traditional bank, or hard money lending. So you got to be very, very careful with those things. So always consult with your real estate agent. What will be the purchase price, the cost of doing all the work, and what will be the final sales price. Illegal rental conversions. Some scammers illegally convert properties into multiple rental units without proper permits and safety standards. So that's another thing. You got to be very careful if you're buying a property that it has been converted into that. Sometimes, for example, there are single family homes in this area that they have a second kitchen in the basement, especially like a stove in the basement, and they have not applied a permit for to have an apartment downstairs. And sometimes things like that can have an issue, because the scammer can be renting the first two levels or the first level of this single family home to one family, and then the basement to another one. And then you get something in the mail that says the lower unit, it is not ready to be converted. So you got to be very, very careful with those things. Always check with it. Do me a favor. Do not go into real estate doing things on your own. I get it. You sometimes feel like, I don't need a realtor. Why I want to have a real estate agent? I get it. But you know what though? It's for your own peace of mind. Okay. um, Counterfeit rental or sell listings. The scammers may create fake rental or sell listings using legitimate property details and photos. They may request upfront payments and personal information before providing access. Verify listings with a reputable real estate agent or platforms. I think this is kind of like ties into the other one that I just told you, but it is true. You do not want to just share the information. Remember, check on multiple websites to make sure that house is available. You can do it, it's public information. You can check if the owner is still it's valid. Sometimes people die, and in the process of the family inheriting the property, sometimes that goes to probate. It can be months. Some people know those houses are vacant. It just doesn't take that long. You just drive by the same street several times during a period of the time, a month or weeks, and then you can see that a house, it's vacant, and then people can just go and take pictures from the outside and put it for rent. If there are no pictures of the inside, and there are definitely no pictures at all, that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Nowadays, it shouldn't be that complicated. You can take pictures with a device like this. It's super simple, and just put them on the market. It's not the way I do it. I use professional services, but I'm saying if it needs to that come to that point, that's the way it should be done. Okay, and that concludes here my live today. I hope you guys got some good information here, some golden nuggets from this thing. Definitely, you got to be vigilant. There's a lot of things that are happening out there. If you find some value in my content right here, and you think there's something like that, it's you're attracted to stuff like this, you like it, leave me a comment here below, give me a thumbs up, let me know that this is something that you want me to continue to post, and we'll continue to that. In the meantime, there are more videos here on my channel that you can watch. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.